Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to these daily mindfulness sessions, every day 6:40 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, with replays on IGTV and on YouTube. So from yesterday, we were looking at the idea of using our mindfulness practice to contemplate things. So one of the practices that you can do with mindfulness, like we did yesterday, is to sort of ask yourself a question. What do I actually feel about this? We asked the question, what makes someone good? And then we meditated. That's one of the things you can do. If you want to know more about what you actually feel, rather than just going with that first impulse, sit with the question, ask the question, sit as a meditation, and then come back to it. That's a way to practice. It's a way to work out what you actually feel beyond what it feels like you think you should feel just on impulse, because it's more than likely that those impulses aren't exactly what you feel. You know what I mean? It's easy to sort of get lost in those temporary emotionalities. Yeah? What I want to look at today is the idea that your life, your reality, is not online reality. What I mean by that is, the stuff that's going on in your life is real, right? Everything's real. I mean, in the sense that if you find out about something overseas or online or whatever, it's happening, it's real, but it's very easy to lose yourself in that online drama, or even closer to home, in the drama of some other people. So what I mean by that is that what I want you to consider is what's happening in your life right now. What's actually going on that impacts you? What are some things that you can impact through your actions, through your words, through your concerns, right? Because I know myself, when I scroll online, I'll see an issue happening somewhere that I have no impact over. I can't do anything about it. But the knowledge of that, I sort of think about it. I get guilty. I feel worried. I'm concerned. But it has very little, if anything, to do with me. You know, it's like they say, the news is always bad. The news is always gloomy. It's never positive. But for some reason we're attracted to watching it. But this is true even though the news doesn't really impact us. The point I'm trying to drive at is the vast majority of stuff that you see online, the vast majority of stuff that you see on the news, the vast majority of stuff that you see other people contemplating and concerned about, none of that is your reality. Simply put, none of it is something that you should really be concerning yourself with, to the extent that we do, right? You can know about that sort of stuff, you can try and make changes, but to dwell on it, to make it impact your own reality, is a little bit folly, I think. I'm not saying to not engage or to not care, but rather just to put things into perspective. So what we can do with our mindfulness practice is to sort of step back and detach, and to both realize when we're engaging with this content that has a negative impact upon our minds, but also to step back and just sort of see our own reality. It's like looking at a weather report of a tsunami somewhere, or like a hurricane, and going, oh no, it's raining, it's storming, all this and that. But then you look outside and it's actually sunny and calm. The sunny and calm state, that's what we're living in, right? That's your reality. Now, the reason this is important is that sometimes it will be, a hurricane where you live, right? And in those instances, for sure you gotta do stuff. For sure you gotta care. For sure you gotta take specific actions to address it. But if that's not happening to you, it would be silly to feel like it's happening to you, because you're too invested in it. You can't actually see it from the detached perspective. You feel all the rage and the emotionality and the fear and the hatred, all of that sort of stuff of the people that are there. But does that help you to help them? Maybe not. Does that help you to help yourself? Certainly not. Does it detach you from your real world reality, from the things that are actually going on in your life? Most certainly. So what I want to encourage is that we just consider what's actually happening in our world, be here now. And then from that state, we can better prioritize what's going on. Because yes, there are issues in the world. There's always going to be issues in the world. But let's make sure we're grounded in our own reality. And from that place, we can take action. Does that make sense? So with that in mind, let's get comfortable, take a seat, close our eyes, start drawing our attention to the breath. And we're going to be doing a 10-minute mindfulness session. So your mind will wander, potentially onto thoughts of the world. Bring it back to the breath. Your mind thinks of the past, thinks of the future. Something arises that isn't the sensations of the breath. You gently acknowledge it and bring your focus back to the breath. And just repeat that for the duration of the session. Let's give it a try. So, how'd you go? When we consider the idea of being here now, the idea of looking at our reality as it is for what it is in this moment, we sort of get a little bit of freedom from the problems of the world, and freedom even from our own problems. You know, if you've got like a stressful event coming up in an hour or a day, it can be easy to fall into this rumination cycle, all too easy. But if we notice those thoughts coming, in whatever form they come, we can take that step back and enjoy the moment. I noticed this with my family. I'm playing with my son, and then this thought of, you've got to go to work, or this family drama or this world drama pops in. And I'm like tempted to turn away from my son, turn away from my present reality and the fun and the joy and all that sort of stuff I'm going through right now, that it's, I'm engaged. But then there's this pull, and then I'm over here and I'm thinking about all of this sort of stuff, and I lose the moment that I had. Even though me thinking about these thoughts doesn't help, even though thinking about those thoughts takes away from what's happening. And I don't like that. I don't like being a slave to the whims of whatever thought pops up. All I know is that the more I meditate, the more that I be present in the moment, the more ability I have to recognize when I'm falling into these thoughts. I'm not perfect. I still have the same responses and all of that sort of stuff. But I'm better at connecting to and recognizing that I'm falling into them, and I'm better at stopping that process than I used to be. And if I do fall into them, I'm not as impacted. And the only way that I've seen to get better at that is through long-term mindfulness meditation. Every day, just training myself to return my focus back to the breath. So with that in mind, if you like these sessions, recommend them to someone. Recommend them either to come live or check out the YouTube or IGTV replays. You can also check out my book, Mindfulness, a guidebook to the present moment. I'm releasing it chapter by chapter for free each week, as well as courses and content and guided meditations and little talks on Insight Timer and on Skillshare. So head over, check it out, and let's keep meditating daily, because I truly think it's the best thing that you can do for yourself, and if you put yourself in the best place, you'll be able to help other people in the best way. So, cheers.